What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Now, today on the table in front of us is, this is the Benchmade Bugout. This, of course, is the CF Elite version, which they just dropped. This one has carbon fiber. So GFN is glass-filled nylon. This is carbon fiber-filled nylon. Instead of glass to reinforce the nylon, they use carbon fiber. So it doesn't look really carbon fiber, but it is considerably stronger through the middle than the old one. Now, I can give you an example. This is one of the originals. You can pinch the Grivix scales just about closed. And a lot of people didn't like that. I never cared. This is a lightweight use knife. It's a lightweight knife, I should say. It's not designed to be a heavy hitter, and it isn't. It is very light and very comfortable in hand. But this one, they've reinforced the materials, and it's actually a little bit lighter for the carbon fiber. This is a fantastic knife. Now, this particular one is a first production run. This is number 960 of 1200. I got this, as I get many things, in a raffle, of all things. I love this knife. Now, you guys know I don't generally like small knives, unless they have a couple of features that make them worth it. Now, one of them is weight. If I'm going to carry a small knife, it needs to be basically a pocket dropper, and I go. And the Bugouts are just that. They weigh next to nothing. The other thing that Benchmade did just right with these, and I will use the new one as the example, is the grip. Now, I have a big hand, right? So because of the way they made this nice sort of straightforward basic rectangle of a scale here, my hand squeezes into this thing really, really well. It doesn't go anywhere. So even though this is, for me, a tiny knife, and for most people it's a mid-sized knife, but for me it's tiny, it's very comfortable to use and very comfortable to hold. And in that regard, Benchmade has just knocked this thing out of the park. Now, it does have their axis lock, and of course thumb studs for deployment. This one is still very stiff because I have not had it very long. I've had this one for a lot longer. It has a lanyard hole back here in case you lanyard, as you guys know that I don't. And it comes with a deep carry clip that I very much like. This is their sort of short deep carry clip, and this thing just vanishes into the pocket. It's got sort of gray-black barrel spacers. The liners are also black. This whole thing is blacked out and very cool. The blade is S30V, as it is in the original. And the DLC coating seems to be done very, very well. I have used this for some basic knifing, including boxes and tape and some paper, and a little bit of cordage just to check it out. And I have managed to leave no marks at all on the blade, which is very nice. This is a very good knife. I really enjoy. I have a few Benchmades. I very much like them. I generally stay away from smaller knives, but this one generated so much excitement that I had to check it out. Let's do some specs just so we know what we're looking at. We'll get to this thing in a second. The blade on this is 1, 2, 3 inches of cutting on 3 1/4 inches of S30V. The overall knife is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just under 7.5 inches long. The grip area, if we go right to the edge here where your finger wants to rest, you get 1, 2, 3, and 3/4 of grip, which is right at my limit for size. But again, they did it in such a way, as you can see, my pinky when I squeeze is on this lip right here. If this thing was any smaller, it wouldn't fit my hand, but it does. And that's really cool. The action, once they break in, is typical Benchmade good. It is fun and easy to use. Mine is not 100% dead center. It's a little bit towards the lock side. I'm not going to take it apart, or I could probably resolve that. Oops. Let's do blade stock, shall we? This part always interests me because these are very thin. 0 that. And we'll go to millimeters. There we go. It is 2.3 millimeters thick at the thickest point of the blade. That is a very, very thin stock. And it isn't razor thin at the edge because they wanted to leave it a little bit robust, but it is very slicey, and that part's very nice. Let's take a look at the blade handle here. At its thickest, It is a little over 1/3 of an inch. You see that? There we go. This thing just disappears, as I mentioned, in the pocket. It is very comfortable to carry and very comfortable to use. I love it. Let's throw some stuff up against it so we know what we're looking at. Now, the first most obvious choice is actually the Rat Model 2, which is another small knife of a similar category. But as you can see, the Bugout's just a little bigger. And certainly, because of the way they made the handle, it is a lot more comfortable for people with big hands. Now, granted, this is a $27 knife, and this is a $150, $140 knife. But you get S30V steel as opposed to AUS 8. You get their new CF Elite scales as opposed to just, standard G10 or GFN, whatever that is. And you just get, well, you get a superior knife is what you get for your money. Here it is up against the Manix 2. And the Manix 2 is a mid-sized to large knife for most people. And as you can see, the Bugout is, of course, a little smaller, but not much. And when it comes to actual cutting edge, they are almost exactly the same. In fact, they are exactly the same. So what you get on the Manix is just more handle and a taller blade, but you get the same cutting area on the Bugout, and this is considerably less expensive than this. Let's put it up against the old-fashioned Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue. And as you can see, the Hogue is just a much, much larger knife. And you get a little more blade on this one as well. But here's the thing, you get a lot of blade on a small knife with the Bugout. I really enjoy it. Do I carry it a lot? Well, no, not really. But where I do carry it is in my bailout bag, my little EDC kit that I shared with you guys once. I tend to rotate the knives in and out of that as they need sharpening, and so this is a perfect size for a kit like that. It is lightweight, it is strong, it is well made, it's sharp, and it's fun too. That doesn't hurt. But it's just a great knife. Now, it's not a fancy knife. It's not a challenging knife in any way. It's very basic and straightforward. But that's where Benchmade just killed it with this thing, because it is just straightforward. And man, did they do a good job with that. I really enjoy this thing, and I think you will too. If you've been wrestling with whether to get one of these or not, do it. Really. It is a good pocket knife. I hope they do more stuff like this. Now, I know they make one called the Bailout, which is a little bit bigger, but it's not bigger enough. I would like to see this exact design scaled up by about a little over an inch. I think a Bugout XL would be so good. They could put some liners in it, firm up the scales a little bit. I would buy that all day long. And I know that some of you are going to say, well, that's the Griptilian, but it isn't because of this handle shape. This is really a well thought out and well sorted knife, and I'm really glad to have one in the collection. I hope you've enjoyed this. I know I've enjoyed sharing it with you. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, let's do the pocket clip just while we're doing it, because I mentioned it's a nice deep carry clip, and it is. So when you drop this thing in the pocket, it disappears. I mean, there is an 1/8 of an inch sticking up over this hank, for sure. As I said, and because it is so thin. Anyway, you can tell I'm a fan. And I didn't think I was going to be, again, because I don't like small knives generally. But this thing, well, it just really spoke to me. I hope you've enjoyed watching this. I have enjoyed sharing it with you. This has been the Benchmade Bugout. This, of course, is the CF Elite model. Thank you so much for watching. Please like the video on your way out. If you haven't subscribed yet, you know what I'm going to say. Please do so. I'd love to have you here on a regular basis. We'll see you next time.